Hey YouTube, welcome back. Hope everybody is doing well. So just wanted to give a quick update for this reef tank during December. So today is Thursday, I think the 12th or something, I forgot which day exactly. But I'll probably drop this video next week before the break while I'm driving back home. So first and foremost, I know it looks a little funky that I have this little rock in the front of my glass. I used to have it back there, but I've been dealing with a lot of turf algae, which you can kind of see in that frag back there if I zoom in. Kind of hard to see, but yeah, so turf algae has been in the tank. I would rather have turf algae than bubble algae, like I mentioned a lot of times. It's super easy to like peel off, but for some reason this rock is like super hard to peel off because it's kind of I guess there's a lot of like bumps and ridges, so it's not as easy or flat as something like the overflow. So what I do is I put hydrogen peroxide, like a little mix of just RO and hydrogen peroxide, and it kind of gets rid of it. I also have my pito crab that's kind of been on the rock, but it hasn't completely eradicated it yet. So I'll probably do like another treatment or two of the hydrogen peroxide, and hopefully that's it. But to continue on to the tank, main livestock changes. As you can see, I added 2 more of those freshwater mollies. Sorry, not millies. I initially bought 3. I asked for 3 white ones, but the local fish store kind of picked up like another kind of like a white and black one like that guy, but he didn't look too good, and he didn't make it through the acclimation as I expected. But for those of you curious, I honestly did not do anything special. I basically dropped them in. And you know, there's like mixed reviews out there saying you should acclimate them slowly or you should just drop them into the tank. In my case, I dropped them straight into the tank in my sump, kind of like monitored them, made sure like the flow wasn't too strong because they're not the best swimmers against flow, but they ended up being just fine. So I added them into the tank, and this guy was actually like pretty aggressive against them, but they're doing okay now. They're surviving. In terms of things outside the tank, I did 3D print some light shades from the local library. I freaking forgot to tell them like I wanted it black, so it is like silver or like gray, kind of matches the light bar. So I'm not too like upset about that, but black would have been a lot nicer. I did that just to kind of reduce the bleeding into the room. That's one thing I don't like about these lights is yeah, they bleed into the room, but I think a lot of it has to deal with the lid I have on top too, kind of just like reflecting that light into the room. See if the camera will focus here. Yeah, update on the biota yellow tang. You can see, man, this guy is a unit now. He has honestly put on a pretty good size. He's bigger than my Tomini tang right there. He's been bigger for a while now, but he's definitely putting on the size. Color is still amazing on this guy. Only have good things to say about the biota yellow tang. Moving on to this left side of the tank, I do have some like patches of dinos, I think, growing on this side, just because my flow is like super weak. I'm planning to get another power head, maybe like another gyre to help with that. I'm not too committed on the idea, but it was just a thought. One thing that really sucks about the this controller I had for the max spec gyre is a little dark. Sorry guys. Is so on the left side over here, actually let me just whip out my phone flash. Okay, so there's like a little LED screen right here on the top left, but I bought the controller used from somebody and that LED screen kind of died, so it's really hard to configure this left pump. I'm ordering I found another controller locally that I'm hoping will replace that, and it will actually like instead of configure it manually, I can use the app to do that. But yeah, so clownfish laid another batch of eggs right there. You can see they're kind of like protective of that area. Gonnies are living life. One interesting, I really like want to frag this guy, but I don't have a saw or anything, because this one is just growing up like vertically instead of basing out like some of the other gonnies do. So I figured I'd make some nice frags, but I just don't have a saw, so I'm just gonna let that grow out. In terms of, let's start with the torches in the back. You see I have a nice variety. Starting from the right side, we have the Dragon Soul, or sorry, not Dragon Soul, Dragon Tamer. This one's a jester. I really like the jester. Something about like the gold is a little bit different compared to some of the other gold torches. So jester right there, super nice. This is another dragon tamer I bought, but this one just doesn't have as nice of a gold as that one. So I'm seeing if it'll color up. Maybe it's just a different variety. And then over here we have the Con Candy torch. So I want to talk more about the green one. So the green one was struggling a little bit because I had a lot of these flatworms on it, and they're not the Euphilia eating like polyclad ones. They're I put them on the screen. I can't remember the pronunciation, but they're these like super tiny flatworms, probably like about that big. They're super tiny, but they were like I noticed them at night. They'll like kind of cover up the torch, and even during the day you can see them on like the polyp, or sorry, the polyps, the torch polyps. Yeah, they're kind of just growing into plague numbers. So I noticed that it was on that green torch, and before I fragged it up, so I have two more green ones in the sump. So I have one there in the back, and I have one there. It was covering the green torch mainly and this gold torch. So I noticed them at night. You can go out and you should shine like a flashlight and I can see them. And even now, like I see a little bit on a few of these hammers here, and that frog spawn too. So I noticed that it was actually starting to bother the torch, and the extension wasn't as nice as you see today. So what I did was, in the past I did a few revive dips, but revive's a little harsh on corals, and it didn't get as many of those flatworms off. So what I ended up doing is ordering flatworm exit, and I kind of mixed it into like a dip. And man, a combination of dipping that green torch, I did that frog spawn back there. I did the splatter hammer. I forgot about the splatter hammer, the one that was right here. It's in the back now. That splatter hammer, those two torches in the bottom with that gold torch, I feel like more than like 100 of those little flatworms like fell off. Like that little cup was like full. So I was actually pretty surprised with how many there were on the few Euphilia and Frimbophilia. But I'm glad I didn't do like a whole in-tank treatment, because if you guys have a lot of those flatworms, it's actually like really toxic and can nuke your tank if you end up killing like a ton of them inside the tank. So yeah, I'll probably do another few rounds of that, and probably a few on the hammers that I haven't dipped. Yeah, I'm kind of annoyed about the hammers because it's like I have them like glued down, kind of like how I want them. So they're kind of like in a nice, I guess, bouquet right now, but yeah, it's just what you have to do. But yeah, that's like the main thing I was battling with over the last month. They're trying to get rid of those little flatworms. I even bought a 6-line wrasse in the sump, but I don't think he's doing much, if I'm being honest. Continuing here on the SPS. A lot of the SPS are finally taken off now. Miyagi torch going pretty nice. It's grown a lot. It's basing out into the nice branches. One thing I do notice that is that it doesn't have that nice like green coloring at the base no more. I'm not sure it's because it's getting shaded out or it's just missing some nutrients. Good news is this guy finally, after like a year, is finally starting to spit out little branches and finally growing more than just the initial plug. So I'm so happy about that. Like, this guy was stagnant for so long, he's finally starting to take off. Sorry, excuse my voice. Forest Fire Digi, amazing, basing out. I really want these things to grow vertically instead of basing out, but you can't really control that. Pink Acro here, I still don't know the name. I just call it Pinky or something. I sold a lot of these frags to local hobbyists, and this one has always been doing really great for me. You can notice where there's a lot of like white tips or kind of like light blue. That's kind of where the new growth is. Battle corals. These guys are still a little stagnant. That's expected with acros when you first put them in your tank. It definitely takes like a few months for them to kind of kick in gear, from my experience at least. Very quickly, it looks a little bad on the backside because usually this is against that back wall and doesn't get the light. CB Maleficent, I believe, and Merlin Staff. They're both growing pretty decently. I think the turf algae is kind of like annoying them at the edges, so they haven't been basing too well. But I do see some growth here. Really good news on this Pikachu Acro. I hate shooting this one from the front because a lot of the coloring is actually on the back. I can't figure out why this front part of the acro won't color up, but I have tried a few different things. Like did raise my lights a little bit, change the angles of one of my light bars, and it does seem to be helping a little bit, but not too crazy. So I'll do a top-down view of this guy maybe. This one from the front view, you can see it's actually starting to grow vertically. It's spitting a lot of branches upwards, which is very good. I'm very happy about that. Still basing on the back side. Moving on to this, I forgot the name of this little mystery acro. This one has just been basing really well. It's like a pink with a nice like green. If you guys know the name of this one, let me know in the comments. I'm not too sure about that guy. I'll try to provide a better video here. Vivid confetti. I do see good things coming from this. You can see the pops coming out, and definitely looks a lot more pink after raising nutrients. It looks like my yellow tank's going off on the rock, thankfully. This one I totally forgot the name too. I got this guy a long time ago with the Pikachu acro. It like totally like browned out. I really wasn't expecting this guy to recover, but for the longest time it was basing right there near the purple monster zoas, but this guy's finally spitting out new branches, so I'm really happy about that. But the coloring is still not the same as it was when I first initially got it. When I first got it, it was like a super beautiful. It was a mix of like a green, yellow, and red. But nowadays it's more of like a, I guess like a green base with red polyps. In the back it looks a little awkward because I have it angled kind of weird. Alright, sorry about that guys. My SD card was full on memory, so I had to delete some videos to continue. But I believe I was talking about this Oregon Tort. I believe this one is one of the better acros that have been growing in my tank because it's next to this power head, so the flow is like super strong on this side. So I think that acro specifically has really been enjoying it. A weird thing I have noticed over the past few months is my goldenrod hasn't been as explosive in growth as it was before, but I will say it is retaining its color because it needs to be a little bit more pale, but it just hasn't been growing as fast, and I'm not sure if that's changes to alkalinity or whatever. As I mentioned in the past, I tried to run towards 9, but every time I go a little higher, my tank never really does well. I noticed that the tank really does well around 8, so I'm not sure if that has anything to do with it, but I'm really happy where 8 is with my nutrients now. It seems like the tank has really finally been hitting its stride. So in the back, I believe that's Rainbow Loom. Rainbow Loom has been branching. Last night, I actually fell into my frog spawn, but thankfully I was able to catch that before anything bad happened. Pearlberry, right here. This guy is super beautiful. The camera really doesn't pick it up well, but this top-down view probably will. I'm seeing a lot more branches growing upwards, which is very good. Anything special? Oh, I wanted to mention that, like I said, I used to have this frog spawn in the back here. So now I moved my jawbreaker mushrooms back here because I did have that one little baby that somehow floated off and ended back there. So I was like, you know what? Let's turn this back side of the tank into where the mushrooms are because it's more low light too, so they'll enjoy it back here. Alright, and I think that kind of wraps it up for this update. Alright, so the last thing I wanted to show you guys is the Sunkissed Bounce. This thing is like roughly, I want to say maybe 2 inches across now, and you can see the bubbles are definitely there. And you can finally see one of my poor banded shrimp. He actually has been out a lot these days, so I'm not sure if that's because he's hungry or he's finally getting used to the tank. But anyways, Sunkissed Bounce doing amazing. Haven't seen any babies spitting off, so hopefully he'll spit some soon in the future. Pink Ghani's still doing well back here. I do notice like towards the base, because the base doesn't really get any light, this one's been like stuck at the same size for like almost a year now, just because it can't like continue to puddle out. So I'll probably have to frag this guy up in the future too to enable its growth. But I'm happy with where it is, and these clownfish definitely love it. They kind of just swim from the front to the back, kind of just repeat. But yeah, that kind of wraps it up. If you guys are going on any Christmas trips, make sure you kind of set up your tank for success before leaving. I did a video 2 months ago. You guys want to check that out on some things that I did before I left on the trip. But I hope everybody has a great Christmas break, spending it with your family. And yeah, kind of just that time of the year to kind of wind back down and just relax a little bit. So yeah, I will catch you guys probably after the New Year's. Peace.